Right, Dean. How are you, young man? Are you well at the moment?
I am doing extremely well, Russell. How are you keeping?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, to be honest, as I said to you before, it's Friday, so I'm well happy for the weekend to come. I'm going to give you an opportunity just to sort of tell us where you are at the moment in your career,
hmm
um, and really what I want to do is, as you know, what we're doing a special series on the Texo Foundation's fifth anniversary, which is
Yeah.
2025. And just to put it into context about what you're doing is what has the foundation allowed you to achieve, and where are you in that journey, in that career?
Honestly, the simplest way I could put it with the Texel Foundation, what it's done for me, it has changed my life. It has revolutionized my life. It has gave me the opportunity to fulfill a childhood dream of becoming a full-time athlete. It has secured my future going forward, and it has allowed me to have these opportunities that I'm now getting up to in my career, which at this point in my career, I'm a professional boxer. I am now 19-1, and my next fight is actually going to be the main event at Madison Square Garden on St. Paddy's Day weekend. So it does not get any bigger in terms
Right,
of
just just
venues.
just say that again. Where are
Yeah.
you? Because the interesting thing is that journey, over your journey, and Texo being part of that. Just say to people again, what is it allowed you to achieve? Where are you going to be boxing?
I know it's actually surreal for me to say it. It still hasn't fully sunk in, I don't think. But the Texas Foundation has allowed me to change from working as a full time electrician while still trying to chase my dreams in professional boxing. It has allowed me to now become a full time athlete. I am now training with the best team possible in Scotland. And my next opportunity is going to be the main event, which is still unbelievable, at Madison Square Garden in New York on St. Paddy's Day weekend for the WBC Continental Americas title, which will also be shown worldwide all over on the UFC Fight Pass, which is streamed to over 80 countries. I think it is the last time that they'd said it is going to be an absolutely ginormous event. And without the help of Texel Foundation, I would nowhere near be close to this position.
That's from our perspective, we're incredibly proud of how quickly you've got to where you've got to. But one of the things that we try and look at, and you've joined us on many events. It's the
Mhm.
this community feel, this local sort of support that Texo um, strives to achieve through your sort of your affiliations, your family, your friends. How much has that community feel been important to you?
Hugely, hugely, hugely important. Realistically, Texo I consider not as a company. I consider everybody at Texo as a part of my personal team. When it comes down to it, I've got a very, very close relationship, obviously, with yourself. But most importantly, I've got a huge, huge, and a great relationship with Chris Smith, the managing director, that has fully believed in me since the first time we had a conversation. Not only did he change my life in terms of my career, but the opportunities been able to come through, the tough times outside the ring. Texo Foundation still continued their support, gave me very, very much needed help during that period of time to keep me on track. Now this opportunities came up, and it's just kind of as a small way of repaying back to the Texel Foundation of the support that they gave for me from my first fight back after COVID and the uncertainty of what's actually going to be happening with professional boxing and my career going forward, to now being main event, main stage in New York, which is every professional boxer's dream. There's people that fight for world titles and don't even get this possible opportunity of headlining at Madison Square Garden. So I'm eternally grateful for the support that Texas gave me, but even the people round about me and the team close to me, everybody can see the huge support, not only to myself that Texas Foundation's got, but for instance in Aberdeen, but it's not just in Aberdeen, but uh, in the UK overall, but in Aberdeen for sure, the massive impact that Texel Foundation has got to not just teams but individuals. They've obviously got the huge backing to the Aberdeen football team, which is obviously the biggest highlight of sport in that there is in Aberdeen, but to all the way down to charitable donations and smaller events and get-togethers. It just goes to show that Texel isn't just a company, it is really part of the community, and it's actually probably the heartbeat of the community when you consider from a company's point of view. There's not a lot of companies that are giving back anywhere near as much as what Texel are doing.
Yeah, I'm gonna take you back about let's just go back to the first time that we met
Yeah.
with Chris in the Texo sort of boardroom, and you mentioned that word dream, right? And the interesting thing is that I think that the one thing that we've and the methodology or the sort of the thought process behind the foundation, and very much how Chris has sort of developed it, and we've sort of marketed it and advertised it, is making sure that individuals that have the talent have the opportunity.
Mhm.
And I think that there's a lot of sports at the moment that you can only achieve if you've got money.
That is absolutely spot on there, Russell.
And I don't think that and it's I think it goes across all sports, and there are some that stand out more than others, sort of like motorsport or whatever it might be, is you can only achieve if you've got the money to back it in the first place. And one of the key things that the foundation has tried to do on a community level is offer those opportunities to people who would never have had it. And that, you go back to that 5 years ago when you came into, would you have dreamt that you have been fighting in, you probably had those expectations and aspirations, but now it's come true in Madison Square Gardens. You must sit in front of that mirror, as you just said sometimes, and think and sort of, start shaving with your Texo razor and think to yourself, is this true? Is have I actually got to where I'm? It's a lot of hard work though.
Mm-hmm. It's been, I've been involved in combat sports since just before my 4th birthday, and I'm 26 now. I've been competing in combat sports for over 20 years. There's been loads of highs, but there's been lots of lows at the same time. There's been very tough times that you're just not 100% sure if this is going to work out, but the support that I've had from Texo has made it, like you were saying, on a financial side of things, it's not a sport that's got lucrative funding or uh, it's got lottery funded or anything like that. In this sort of sport that I'm in, it's all off of the back of having good sponsors. If you don't have good sponsors, you're going to really, really struggle to keep afloat, because at the end of the day, you still need to keep a roof over your head. You still need to pay bills. You need to put food on the table. But the support that Texas allowed me to do is took that massive stress off of having to work a full-time job as well as trying to chase my dreams. The opportunity that Texas gave me of being able to put that aside and being able to concentrate full-time, which I always said that I wanted to do, but I didn't realize the massive, not only physical benefits that it would have, but the psychological, the mental. side of things that has really, really took me to a new level as an athlete, but has also made me massively grow up and mature from a boy to a man. And really having Texo to support me through that process has made it a hell of a lot easier than what it could be. It's boxing is one of them sports as well that, from a financial side, everybody thinks we're all jumping about in Rolls Royces and got big Rolexes on after every single fight. It does not work like that. There's a very, very small percentage at the very top of the sport that, yes, that is what you see. But when you're on your way up, it's below minimum wage by the time you've paid everything off, from management fees to trainer fees to nutritionists to strength conditioning coaches. It's all the equipment that you use is all self-funded. There's nobody that's paying for that. From food shops to absolutely everything has all got to be coming out from yourself. And without sponsorship, you are well below minimum wage. You'd be better off in the nice possible way. You'd be better off begging on the streets. You would have a better living when it comes to it. So without sponsorship and the opportunities that companies like Texo's been able to provide, and I'm just talking about with myself, but I know the impact that Texo's had on multiple different sources and multiple different sports. To give people the opportunity is life changing straight away when it comes down to it. To be given an opportunity and have the chance to follow through with it is a total different thing. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have the opportunities or the support behind you to be able to chase them, then it's going to be an uphill battle from the very, very start. And that's why, for instance, for myself, growing through doing the kickboxing and now into boxing, I've seen so many talented people that, due to financial situations, fell away from the sport. And if more companies like Texel was about, that gave the community different opportunities like that, the amount of talent that we would be able to bring through would be on a whole different level.
Does it, thinking about that, does it surprise you? Because I was actually, we had a sort of a chat with Aberdeen Football Club, because we're carrying on our sponsorship with them for the next 3 years. Is how little there is at a true local level of, I would say, sort of the support that's needed to nurture young talent. There's lots of organisations, don't get me wrong, that support great initiatives and organisations, and we do it with the Archie Foundation. You know, so it's almost as though sometimes an organisation will want to go for a bigger, better name just to make sure that they're recognised. Do you think in young sport there is a lack of commitment from organisations to empower them, to make them better?
Massively, and this is no uh, like, this isn't a diss to any of them sort of organizations that are helping. Especially, like, the biggest one for me would be like lottery funding. That was one of the biggest things for me, that I'd always tried to get lottery funding, but you've got to fit into such a niche to qualify for that, that there's so many of them that fallen through the gaps to get to the opportunities. And then once you do get into that very, very small lucrative stage, then it's for, most of the time, it's for team sports when it comes down to it. Whereas there's a lot of individual talent that is so raw and had all the potential that to go on to achieve massive things in their sport, but just due to the fact of the lack of opportunity to come through and the lack of support, there's so many of them that fall through. And I think that's a big factor, not only in Aberdeen, but I think that's a huge factor in Scotland in general. And I think that you could probably even take that to the UK, but definitely in
Yeah.
Scotland. I think that's why when we do get talent coming through, it's very few, but they do get the support they deserve. But we've got so many talented youngsters coming through that could take it to the world stage. But how many actually get that opportunity to show their full talent at the best possible opportunities? It's it's a very, very, very small percentage.
Because it's the one thing that we wanted to do via the foundation was to to not limit it to sort of one or two main type organizations.
Mhm.
You know, we do have, as you know, the Archie, which you've come to some of those events and it helps sort of support that. Um, no one can underestimate the need for for sort of sick and ill children to sort of help and support. But the interesting thing is that when you break away from a singular organization and try and do what we've tried to achieve is
Mhm.
have, I think we're up to 30, 40 different organizations in such a short sort of time frame. Is it's almost like, give each one of them as much as we can in terms of time, effort, commitment. And do you think that's something that other organizations should look at in terms of a model?
100%, 100%, Russell. But like you were saying there, that's 30 to 40 different organizations that one company has been able to do. Imagine if there was other companies that had the same charitable mentality that Texel's got. What a huge impact they would be able to have. But there's just not companies that have the same sort of mentality as Texel, and that's why I truly believe Texel is such a unique and special, not just company but team. The people that's involved with it as well, they are just as motivated to help out than they are to participate and do their job. And they want to see this talent coming through, and they want to see them be just as successful as the individuals themselves. So I really do believe that if there was a lot more people that had that mindset, what a different world we would live in.
Well, yeah, indeed. You've sort of unsung, but you do have a very hardworking, special individual in your life called your father,
Hmm.
who's more than 100% behind you with all of this, and he's obviously been relatively or very inspirational in your career, and how important is it, as we're talking about these things as teams, for families to support, and obviously, when you were coming up and you didn't necessarily at the time have the support of Texo, and then afterwards, how's your sort of father adapted to how your career has sort of taken off?
Well, I've been very, very fortunate that my families gave me an unbelievable backing. My mum and dad has travelled not just all over the UK but all over the world with me. The amount of sacrifice that they've put in, the time, the money that they've invested to get me these opportunities to allow me to continue to grow, I will be eternally grateful for them. But I'm just in a very, very fortunate position now with the help of, for instance, like yourselves, that my mum and dad can take a bit of a back step. My mum was my nutritionist, she was my cook, she was my cleaner. My dad was my social media rep, my driver, they had to fit into so many different molds to be able to give me and my younger brother the
Mm.
opportunities when we were coming through, that I know that so many parents wouldn't have been able to give them that position or continued to that extent, which means that I'm very, very fortunate in the position that I'm in now to, for instance, fighting in Madison Square Garden. I know that not only is it a huge proud moment for myself, but one for my family because they've been through this journey just as much as I have. Although it's an individual sport, they have been there the whole way through in every single step with me through the highs and lows, and they've took a lot of emotional stress on top of it to try and make things easier for myself. They've obviously been through financial situations to try and get me to the competitions all over the world, or fight nights, or pay for equipment. So to have them be able to take a bit of a back step and just enjoy the ride now means a huge, huge amount to me. And the fact as well as getting this fight over the line, Madison Square Garden, as soon as it was all announced, my mum and dad didn't stop crying for a week. They were so emotional about it.
Oh, that's
I
lovely
ended up,
then.
I went round and brought them a box of tissues to try and cheer them up. But no, that they are just absolutely delighted that the opportunity like this has finally came about. One that I've worked my whole life for, but one that they've also been involved with as well. That's a big thing. I'm the individual that you see in the ring under the bright lights, but there's a whole team of people behind me, from my parents to my younger brother to my partner to my boxing team to my friends and family that just genuinely message, want the best for you, support you. It's a huge, huge commitment. And but the biggest thing for me is going over there, having my name up in the bright lights, makes my mum and dad extremely proud. And that's one thing that I'll never, ever be able to take away.
I reckon that as your mum and dad were crying with joy, they were searching the internet for a decent hotel uh, just up the road, so that they've already booked themselves in, I would imagine.
Yes, they have put themselves in, and I've already had a huge support of people that's coming over for the fight. I genuinely thought it would maybe be my parents, my brother, my partner, and that would be about it. But I think I've got maybe just shy of 60 people that's coming
Good
over
God.
for it. Over to Madison Square Garden in New York for this opportunity. I really didn't think anybody was going to go, and uh, I was just blessed that I had my boxing team round about me, my teammates. They're going to be travelling over with me, and to have my family there, what a proud moment. But to have, I think I've got, yeah, I think it's just shy of 60 people that's making that journey over. And this isn't people that I get to see every day, that I speak to every day. This is people that just want the absolute best for me and have watched me through my journey and believe I'm going to be able to do it.
It's interesting because obviously your fan base and things. That just brings me on to one of the last questions, actually, Dean. It's just like, how does it sort of? It might be a tricky question to ask, but how does your sort of the fan base react to the sort of being part of that Texo family? How do they see it as a real benefit, or how do they react to that?
Yeah, just to be involved with it. That they think it's a massive, massive opportunity, and the people closest to me, I've known all the different stuff that I've been through with struggling, working full time, trying to fight tooth and nail basically to get through these opportunities. There's been many, many times that I've been very, very close to thinking, is this really actually going to pay off for myself? Whereas now it's just that full dedication, commitment, and just keeping with the cause, just keeping that faith to go through, which a lot of people would have lost faith in my sort of situation, but it's all came to reap its rewards. But many, many people have said to me, like, they might not 100% know what Texo does, but as soon as I explain to them all the stuff that Texo's done for not only for me, but like the local community, every single one of them has said, if only there was more companies like that on the go, how different would not only sport be in Scotland, but just in general for kids' livelihoods coming up. Like you were saying, you just do an absolutely incredible job with the Archie Foundation, just to make a young sick kid's life that little bit better. That that is priceless. That you can't put a money factor to see a wee kid have a smile, cheer their day up, and give them some sort of joy that they didn't have before. That is absolutely priceless. So I know I'm in a very, very fortunate position that I'm able to do what I want to do, and what I've dreamed of doing this whole time due to the help that Texo is giving me. But I also know there's a lot of people out there that would bite their hand off basically to be in the position that I'm in, and to have a company like Texo behind me is it does make it incredibly special.
Well, listen, we're all proud. It's that when you think about it, it's that mentality. There's no such thing as losing or giving in, and it's
Yeah.
the sort of the one thing that underpins a lot of what the philosophies of TechZone. What I want you to do is tell me a little bit of your daily routine at the moment, and then you can go in and tell everybody how much steak you're having to throw away.
So my I'll probably it's easier to do a weekly routine. So my weekly routine is I have one day off as such a week. As we say, day off. I've still got to go for a long walk, but I train 2 to 3 times a day on the other 6 days, all varying between boxing sessions, strength and conditioning sessions, running sessions, circuit work, sprint work. It's a full all round package. We're not just all just throwing punches all the time. You put your body through a lot of different stress to get there, and then you come into the factor of the nutrition side of things. Boxing's obviously a weight categorized sport, so you're always trying to get as much advantage by fitting into a weight category that you're bigger than your opposition, but able to still get the most out of your body. And when it comes down to the steak, I am a big steak person. Steak is one of my favorite meals to have, but I get it once a week on my rest day. And one of the hardest decisions I've got to do throughout the whole week is in my dinner, my steak is 150 grams. And if you go to most supermarkets, it's about 170 to 180 is about the smallest that you can get. So to cut that 20 to 30 grams of steak off and chuck it in the bucket is a real tough decision to make. It's probably a lot harder than what people would give it credit for, but at the end of the day, it's only me that's going to benefit from that. That this is an individual sport. At the end of the day, I need to give myself the maximum opportunity possible, and little decisions like that is all stuff that is banked up and will benefit me when it comes to fight night. The difference as well in an individual sport, and especially in boxing, is if I have a bad night, I don't have 10 other people that are able to help me out. When it comes down to it, if I have a bad night, I'm probably walking away with a very sore face. Uh, so I've got to
And
try and maximize my opportunity as much as possible, and that's why you've got to live such a regimen and dedicated lifestyle to it. It's not one that, oh, I'll do 2 or 3 weeks worth of training. It's you kind of lock yourself away for 10 to 12 weeks really when it comes down to it, and your own your only focus really is producing on fight night and getting to that point, and that means a huge amount of sacrifice, whether it's seeing friends or family, different events, nutrition side of things, going for meals. uh it's all part and parcel of getting in the best possible position to maximize the opportunity.
right, so you have the floor now to all the audiences that will eventually listen to this podcast, Dean. Tell us everything about the fight. When is it going to be? Who is it against? Where they can watch it? So this is your platform.
This is my sales pitch, is it? So I am going to be fighting at Madison Square Garden in New York on Sunday, the 16th of March, against an Irish fighter called Callum Walsh, who is based over in Los Angeles with the world renowned Hall of Fame boxing trainer Freddie Roach at the Wildcard Gym. He is also the only professional boxer that is backed by the UFC president, Dana White. So there's a lot of, what would you say, clout is probably the best word, or a lot of reputation going on about him and what he could do in the sport in the next couple of years. He is 12-0 with 10 knockouts. He is the current champion, and the whole event is built around him. So the big thing for me is I am all well and good going over there. They can look at me as the B side all they want, but I'm going over there to spoil the St. Paddy's Day party, and luckily there'll be some blue flags that'll be flying over there, and it'll be streamed worldwide on the UFC Fight Pass app, which is a streaming app a wee bit like DAZN. You're able to go on and you will be able to pay almost like a pay-per-view subscription for the event. So that will be the early hours of Monday the 17th. Back in the UK, that the fight will be on. I believe I'm supposed to be on about 8 to 9 p.m. on the Sunday in New York, which will be between 2 and 3 a.m. on the Monday here. So if there is anybody who would like to watch the fight, I think you'd be best to book a little day's holiday on the Monday. Or if you don't have any holidays left, maybe a little sick day. Don't tell anybody I said that. But yeah, so it is a huge opportunity for myself, one that I have been working extremely hard to get to, and it's a life-changing opportunity that I'm not going to let slip.
Well, listen, I know that everybody at Texo and all of the Texo's extended family wish you all the best, young man, and we will be in touch very soon to see how the training's going. But all the best, and thank you ever so much for your time.
Absolute pleasure, Russell. Thank you very much for getting in contact and having me on again for this podcast. And incredible, the Texas Foundation is hitting its 5th birthday, and I'm very, very blessed to be part of that foundation.
All the best. Thanks very much, Dean. Take care.
Thank you, Russell. Top man.
Cheers, bud. Bye-bye now.